999 ASMR Tarot Paint Night. And tonight we're going to paint a mountain scene. We're going to journey into imagination land and paint a mountain scene. And the last mountain scene I painted was this, just the other day, a few days ago, on a 6x8 birch wood panel. And then the other one I painted this week, which is similar, was this one on a canvas board. And this is a 9x12. This is a 9x12 canvas board. But what we're going to do today is we're going to paint on a 6x12 canvas board or stretch canvas. And so without further ado, we're going to get crack-a-lackin' here. And I am random guy. I'm just some random guy doing stuff on YouTube. And if you're watching this on the playback, feel free to increase or decrease the playback speed depending on how it affects your ability to relax. And in this episode, I'm going to have to move the paint to the side because we want to see the whole thing here. So I've already chosen what paints we're going to use here in this, and that's primary yellow, yellow ochre, titanium white, Titan buff, primary cyan. That's more mixer of titanium white and more titanium white, and this is fluorescent red. But there's one more that I forgot to add to this, and that is primary magenta. But in this case, we're going to be using cadmium red, and this is what we're going to use. And we're going to be mixing all the colors we need to do this painting from these colors. I don't need very much red. So I'm going to be making the browns, I'm going to be making the greens, and above all, we're going to be making a really beautiful violet color out of, where did that lid go to? Oh, man, why do they always roll so far away? We're going to be making a beautiful violet color out of primary cyan and fluorescent red. Or actually, this is actually fluorescent magenta. So I'm going to put this aside right over here, and we're going to get working on a forest scene in imagination land. So I'm going to start out by building the sky. We're going to build the sky, the clouds. So it's going to run. So in this scene, we're on a hike, and I've mentioned this multiple times, being on a hike and coming up the hill, and you see a big tree coming up the hill, and then of course your next coming up to a plateau, but then the next place you're going to be coming up is this way over there you're going to be hiking to, but you're going to just stay in this moment right here looking at these trees. And I think this tree is going to live here. It's going to live in this zone here, and there's going to be a little bit of a mountain over here, but there's going to be this pretty sky. And we're going to first start by going with this color here, and we're going to just build the sky. And I'm going to use tapping motions in order to simulate the randomness of clouds and so forth. And already I have run out of paint, but we're just going to keep going, and I'm going to be adding more as we go along. I'm going to start up here and blend it here, blending with more of these colors. Now the sun in this picture is going to be at your back. That's where the sun is going to be. And primary cyan. And this is a golden color. I do use both golden and Amsterdam paints. And I would prefer to use all golden because they have way more pigment in them. But the Amsterdam is it's more affordable, so I just use more of it. But so like for instance, a big tube of titanium white in the golden open, it costs like $40. And a little tube like this is like in the $20, $20 category. You can get them sometimes on sale for around maybe $10 or $11, but it does it is a huge difference in the price point. And so this tapping motion, I just like how it makes the clouds and in the sky when you just blend it right on the canvas. Well, hello, travel siblings. So you're going to watch for a couple minutes and then you're going to go to bed. Well, good. This is a 6 by 12 canvas. And I did a practice painting of this back in July in a much larger format. And so we're going to come and add more of this white coming up here. But we'll probably be wanting to just want to put that energy in the sky. Clouds, they're there. Cloud patterns. And sometimes, I've done this and patterns have been more like dragons in the sky, like clouds that could be like clouds you could possibly see. The other day when I was driving, I did see just that. I saw crocodiles and dragons in the sky, and it was glorious. Well, we're going to go over to the edges here and paint the edges, because you want to, with these kind of canvases, if the painting is worth mounting on the wall when you get done with it, you want to make sure you paint the edges. And we're just going to bring that color all the way down. Maybe we'll do a little bit of a mix of this one. I'll put that in here just to mix it down in the sky. Coming back up here. And we'll do the other edge later. I'm going to be painting that edge, this other edge now. I can have it in my hand. Can't quite see it, but nevertheless, it is being done. More white. Has this nice feel to it. But we'll be just taking our time here. There's some nice sounds, the nice tapping sounds. And did I mention that this, I did mention at the beginning, this is a stretched canvas on a 3/4 inch deep frame. Coming down here, I'm going to come in and start in by introducing the fluorescent red into the sky. And we'll put some more blue, because then it'll get that lovely color. Well, thank you. Thank you. Bob Ross is one of my heroes. I remember I used to watch Bob Ross on PBS when he was on PBS years ago. But no, I'm not related to Bob Ross at all. Just as I said, Bob Ross is one of my heroes. And I need to add a lot more titanium white, because that's going to be a color we're going to be using the most of here. Well, yes and no. Actually, that is actually true. We are going to be doing that. Yeah. And Bob Ross paints in... I want to do something. There was something that I wanted to do here. I'm going to put this color right in the background, because maybe it is a far, far away mountain range. And maybe it is a bank of clouds. Kind of like this. And then we're going to run back in, and we're going to add in more of this color, more of that color, and just bring it on down. Kind of like that. There. And I think this is where the land is going to live. We're going to have land that lives here. One of the things we want to make sure, really sure, that doesn't happen is that we do not want to introduce any yellow into the sky. And see how this is starting to look here? The patterns in the clouds. From my angle, I can just really see there's just a lot of depth that is here, and bringing in that depth. And we're going to bring in a lot of white here, a lot of white here. Get more of a swirling. I'm going to go heavy here on the titanium white. Now, but I'm going to, I should have done this first, but I was taking care of the dog and everything, and we're going to do this other thing here. Okay, because this paint is pretty wet, and I'm going to want to hurry things along. I'm going to use this hair dryer here in order just to touch up and add just to dry this a little bit. Just a little bit of dry. The acrylics do dry really fast, but it's I'm going to be starting to put the land in place, and I do not want to introduce green into the sky, because in building the land, it will require mixing some of these other colors. And so we're just going to move this aside just a little bit and put this over here. Entertaining as Bob Ross. You know, that is such a compliment. That is such a compliment. You have no idea how much you complimented me by saying that, Gregory, and welcome. If you're still here, oh, my brushes are right here. So we're gonna grab, I think maybe this brush here. No, I need something else to mix that paint. I think I'll use this brush here. We're gonna make a color. Maybe I'm gonna use this Titan buff here for this faraway color, mixed in with this yellow ochre. And we're gonna put this in here, and that's gonna just be in the far, far away distance, while we are here in Imagination Land. There's kind of some motions that are upward motions, and this sort of just, it makes it kind of fuzzy there in the background. The colors will kind of blend in over here just a little bit. Well, thank you, Travel Siblings, for staying for as long as you did. I will be back at noon my time tomorrow to do some painting some figures and things that I did last week at noon Pacific time, because 2 of those figures survived the terrible beating that they got from a bird. And we'll just put this color in here. I'm just going to bring this down. Good night, Travel Siblings, and have pleasant dreams. We're going to add in some titanium white in here just to tone it down, because it's like ways away in the distance. Way away in the distance. You know, this sounds just like a drum, don't you think? Let's go add in some primary yellow to this. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to get a little bit of this primary cyan, and we're going to build a green that these green planes will be in Imagination Land, adding white, titanium white, with the yellow ochre and the Titan buff, a little bit more of that primary yellow, and just making a nice, pleasant color green, which actually kind of looks like this green over here in this page of Pentacles. And I'm just going to add that in here. It's going to blend in with the other greens that are there. We want to run that down and just more white in it. And so this is just in the far away. You know, and there is no right way to do this. There is no right way to paint out of your imagination. That's just one of the things to remember here. You're painting out of your imagination, and there is no wrong way. You can do something that you don't like, and that happens a lot. I'm going to paint the edges over here now. Over here with that, maybe a little bit of yellow. the yellow. It's painting the edges. Like that. Coming clear down here. It's got that drumming effect. Oh, yeah. I probably shouldn't do that because I might... that'll just kind of show my age and date me. Just get that in there. The colors that are in the distance. Let's kind of blend it up here. Blend it up. Just bring it in there. Because this part of the background is really not all that important. Because this part is the part that is a long ways away. It's a long ways away, and you will be traveling there. You may not be, but you might be traveling there in your walk into Imagination Land. I'm going to put this in here, getting the colors down right. Just there. There we go. There, that looks nice. I'm going to put some more of this titanium white. Because the main focus of this experience is the sky. And the sky. You know, these clouds have this swirling pattern to it that reminds me of looking at pictures of the cosmos and pictures of nebulae as they are colored out, or how I might imagine them to be, or like space clouds in Star Trek, like the Star Trek movies. Like I was thinking of like the Wrath of Khan or the Search for Spock. Let's go put that in over there. Yeah, I'm really liking that energy in the sky. I don't think I want to paint these cards, so we're going to move those out of the way. We just have old St. James right there. You know, I'm going to set this aside for a minute and just let it dry just a tad bit before I start really working on the foreground. And I'm going to put that over here, and I'm going to switch gears, and we're going to paint this rock. I'm going to paint this rock, I think. And I have a gesso on this rock here, so we can do that. Maybe we'll paint a nice tree on here, but I think I'm gonna just tone this down to, we're gonna paint on this rock. Add some more white to it. White clouds. Just some happy clouds. Something that just makes me feel happy, and that's what I'm doing right here. And hopefully you are feeling happy too by these colors and how they mix up. And this is just to show you that you really can paint anything. Anything can be your canvas. And so this looks like there's like mountains in the distance. I like that. So maybe we'll just sort of accent that. Make it, there's snow-capped mountains. Maybe a bit over here too. Snow-capped mountains in the distance. bring it down. Snow. You know it's going to be winter soon. Maybe we'll have snow here again. I don't know. But maybe there'll be snow where you live. We want to put a little bit of this right on top. A lot of snow just lives on this peak here. Maybe I'm going to add to it a little bit of that fluorescent magenta. Just kind of, this adds a big, nice pink hue, kind of a violety pink hue into the background. Maybe a little tad bit of this, of the primary magenta. Kind of mix it in, all nice and quiet like. A little bit more of that, a little bit darker. Just giving a nice kind of a feel in the sky. But we want to come in, get more white. Just get more energy, get that energy of that white. All in here. I hope y'all can hear me. Because I just realized the volume was turned clear down. But then that guy said I did sound like Bob Ross. And so, nice rock. Maybe I'll go back in and in this rock, we'll put some of these other colors in here. Of course, as you can see, it is turning green right here, adding yellow ochre on top of primary cyan and white. That does indeed make green. It's a toned down green, but that's okay. That's okay. We're just chilling out in our imagination. And that's really kind of, that's all that's important here. Maybe you'll come back later and watch this video again. You know, watch it before you go to sleep. And just turn it on and listen to the sounds, the tapping sounds of the brush, the sounds of the narration. You can turn it down, you can turn the speed up, you can turn it down to whatever helps you feel that vibe of relaxation. I'm going to go now and just put in a tree. Just a simple tree here. We'll use, you know, I just bought this brush. Was it yes, this one. This is a watercolor brush, or or it could be used for oil paints and just doing just little layers and little layers. And so we're going to try it on here. Brand new brush. Just breaking it in. Building trees on rocks. Look at that. You get a nice fine line here. Put enough water in here in the black. I think this is carbon black. Yeah, I believe that's what I put in there, carbon black. And let's kind of bring this down. Bring it down. You know, it just kind of lives right over here. And bring it up, and it kind of bring in some of that white from the background, and makes it sort of a grayish color, blends it in, kind like that. We'll just bring it all the way down to the edge. Oh, greetings, Karen. Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you for seeing me earlier. Oh, yeah, did you watch me do some chores, the cutting wood and so forth? But, yeah. Yeah, I have a question for you, Karen, and there is my regular art fair is not happening this year due to the community center being well, I don't know, it's some political reasons. But anyways, there's another holiday market that I can go to. I have to apply to. The application deadline's coming up really, really fast. But if I get in, the price is $400 for a booth, for an 8x8 booth section for 2 weekends. And I'm wondering if you think this would be worth my while. If I could even make the $400 in like art sales, but mostly craft sales, like the cards, those cards that I do. And that's really what I maybe you can think about it. You can ask your tarot cards or whatnot if your intuition, if it seems like that's a good thing to do. But anyways, I'm going to go back to my demonstration here. I'm going to just build this tree here. Now, right now, it doesn't look very wonderful. But this brush type is really nice because you can do better side to side. It is, I think it's called the McMinnville Holiday Market. Or it might be the Yamhill County Holiday Market. I'm not, it's like one of those two things. That's what it's called. It's in like November. The application deadline, as I said, is coming up really, really fast. And so we're going to come up here. Normally, I don't really ask people questions for tarot simply because I don't really want to know what's going to happen in the future when it comes to my life. So, but that's just me. Coming up over here, getting this green color. Yeah, thanks, Karen. This tree really sucks. But, I can always redo it later. Gonna get some more this color over here, because, painting on rocks it's not that easy to paint on rocks, because the surface is, yes, it is an investment, $400. I believe it's payable afterwards, but you still have to pay it. I'm going to add that coloring right on there. We're going to just run this. I probably shouldn't have done the tree that way at all. That was a huge mistake. Yeah. But then they're also looking for like specific booth types and making sure that you have like displays and everything. I actually don't have any displays. I was going to just... So you paint rocks with your son, and yeah, it is. I have a hairdryer here for adding to that. Actually, I'm kind of liking the abstractness of this of this tree here. It's really kind of interesting. I mean, there's this edge over here, which is kind of muddy. It's kind of got this muddy edge. But, we're just going to add in a bunch of different colors. Just kind of some slow side strokes. Yeah. Lots of different colors. But I did put gesso down first. Like a week or two ago. I did, because I should have put it down on that canvas that I'm painting, but we'll just add in. This is actually really interesting because it may not be a tree. Could be just something totally different. Let's go back to this yellow over here. Yeah, maybe, yeah, it's not bad actually. But just using small layers, just small layers of paint here. And okay, let's just do a little bit more. I'm going to add in, I probably should add some red, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Add in just little layers of paint, little brush strokes, light brush strokes. This is a really good brush. I have to say that I just started using brushes that have long amounts of bristles just recently. And like before, I would just use little thin brushes like this. But these longer brushes make better lines if you apply water on it. And as you can start to see here, this is starting to get a lot of good shape. Here in this. Now the backstroke is not so great, so we're just going to turn it over upside down, and we're going to work on the other side of it here. Because that's also something you can always remember when you're painting, is that you can do this. You can change the perspective of it. You can paint at a different angle in case you are like me and in case you're like me and you have difficulty with the backstroke, the stroke on the other side. And this is something you can do. And see, there it is. It makes it a little bit. Now, it's still not a great looking tree. But then again, trees aren't regular. There is no such thing in nature as a tree that is a perfect tree. And that's also something that you need to remember, that there is a randomness to trees, and that works in your favor when you are painting forest scenes. Now, the danger, of course, is of overpainting and making the paint too muddy. And so, we're going to add some white on here because it's like snow. Just like snow in the distance. We're adding on, and it's snow tree. Just kind of nice, happy snow. You know, it's quiet right now. So quiet you can hear the snow falling on this tree. And it's relaxing and this having this calming effect. The calming effect of that stillness of being in a forest. Maybe this is just out in your backyard. The snow is falling and the tree is getting loaded up with snow. The air is still. And in that stillness, you can feel your soul. You can feel those quiet parts of yourself. And I can hear that right now. Can you hear it? That quietness of the snow. If you can hear it and you aren't asleep, just leave a comment if this is on the playback, or leave a comment in the chat about this still feeling of the snow. And look, this tree is getting better. You know what it needs? This tree needs some decorations in it. We're going to come back out. Let's just clean the brush off and go back into this color. We're going to put in some Christmas decorations. And so you know, Christmas is coming. And this might be the only snow you see this year, depending on where you live. A Christmas tree. Thank you, Care Bear. I know that I can just feel this stillness right now. This stillness in the air, and that stillness that snow brings to when it has freshly fallen, and you go outside and you feel it. Of course, that tree that you see when you just go outside will not have Christmas ornaments on it. But, you know, after all, we are in imagination land right now. And your tree can have whatever it wants on it. And so I think this scene needs a little bit more. Maybe it needs a shoop. I don't know what this is, but maybe it's a fence. It's a piece of a fence. Kind of going over there. It's a tall fence, actually. So maybe we just kind of bring it over. Maybe this is the fence that keeps in your goats in the backyard. We'll just kind of carry out the fence over this way. Needs a little bit more here. Because if you don't put bottom wire on the fence, your goats can escape. Or they can get in and eat your tree. So you don't want that to happen. Maybe another post right here. There and there. And then, but we need to add a little snow onto the fence because this tree has snow, and so does this fence. It has just a bit of snow on it. Just gonna put it on here. Just a wire fences. I've seen wire fences get snow on them before, because when I was a kid, my father raised goats. He grew up in the city, and when he moved down to the country and bought into that little hardwood mill called S&C Lumber that does not exist anymore, he wanted that country life, and he bought goats. Started with this Missy. Missy was the first goat's name. And we're just gonna add in some snow on the ground here. On this ground and kind of all around here. And that goat was a climber. That goat could climb over fences. And then he got another goat. And another goat. And pretty soon, a few years later, there was 18 goats because he got a billy goat. And of course, Dad, being a business owner, he worked all the time. And I hardly ever saw my dad and when I did want to see my dad, my mother would take me down to the mill, usually on Sundays, and he'd be sharpening chipper knives and things like that. And then pretty soon, Dad would put a shovel in my hand. And so here I am, 6, 7 years old. And Dad said, well, why don't you go make yourself useful and shovel that sawdust and in that conveyor, because I need to go fix that conveyor. And so that was it. We're going to put like a little moon in the sky because, in those snowy days, if the moon is in the sky and it's still just clear out, you can see it. And so here is that scene. And I was talking about the goats but the work, and then shoveling sawdust on the weekends morphed into splitting firewood, and then at 14 years old it morphed into pulling green chain and working. And then at 18 is when I graduated to running chainsaws and other such equipment. And so, I really hadn't talked about my early life before, but there we go. I'm gonna go move this aside. Now, did you get a good look at it? So yes, thank you. So that but yeah. So if I invest the money, is magician. So yeah, okay. So if I can create enough cards and enough masks and enough items like this, I might be able to at least break even. Is that what the cards are saying? Or what I really need is to make like $5,000 and to carry over into the next year. And so there's my little snow scene. We are going to go back to the forest scene, so I got to move my paints out of the way. And we're going to be bringing back this. Here is the scene. Here. You know, I was like thinking something is that I'm coming up on 24 months of doing this show. 24 months on September 9th. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I want you I'm going to think about it, and maybe you could do another reading on it in a couple days, because I still haven't applied, and I want to be sure, because maybe that other opportunity is I should set up a store, an online store, and sell out of that instead. And you know what I'm saying. So anyway, that's enough on that. I'm gonna get back to Imagination Land. And we're going to work on this guy just a little bit. It's actually a bit drier here. And so we need to add more titanium white into my well, one of the things, I guess, my insecurities, Karen, is that since I'm a self-taught artist, that my insecurities is that they'll look at me and say that you're not a real artist because you were self-taught, and that is one of my biggest insecurities that I have in being a self-taught artist. But anyway, that's that edge, and then we have the bottom edge here, which I will do later, and maybe just a little bit more clouds in here. We have some clouds there, nice cloud bank here. These clouds live there, but I want to have some of these clouds live right here. So as far the cards are good. Okay, all right. I will apply for the I'll apply for the fair, and if I get in, then but I'll start making content for it to sell in it. So I'm going to bring in this down here, just a little bit here. Maybe it's some fog on the ground, and it has some nice effects here of like far away trees in the distance, and it's not dried sufficiently enough that the sky is not green. I better test it though, because I am working with a canvas. There's no green here. Okay, good. No green. And so I'm going to come back up here with that and make that lavender. I like that. Actually, this is a pinkish color. I really like that. What is it lavender or is it violet? We want to tone it down, way down. So I should show you what I'm doing here. This here is fluorescent red, and I mixed in some blue, and I'm mixing this color here, but I want to tone it down a lot more, and I'm going to put this up in the higher part of the sky. Maybe just a little bit of that red, and just a little bit of that red. So it contrasts with some of the other colors that are here. Oh, it's a $10 application fee. And it's a non-refundable $10 application fee. which is not bad. And the $400 is payable after the event, but if you don't make any money, you still have to pay the $400. So we're going to tone down that. And so we look at here, because here's some of this color here, and we have it in here, and I want to bring up a layer here. Maximilian 77 cent. A car for an edit. How about Cloud Rider? Cloud Rider. And welcome Gregory. No, I don't have a pottery wheel, and I've actually never used a pottery wheel before. And welcome Maximilian77. Welcome Gregory Max again, because I think that you were you in my afternoon stream when I was did you pop into that one where I was doing firewood? Okay, I'm just going to put this up here, there, maybe a little bit over here, and I'm going to push in a little bit of it here, because there might be like this far away mountain range in the back. And I kind of like this effect, because as you're walking in, it's there and it's not there. Okay. Thank you very much for pulling those cards for me. I kind of asked that question in a couple different other people's sessions, but you know, those were kind of bigger ones. Nevertheless, so that looks over here like there just could be something over there, a faraway mountain. And then we're going to come back in and kind of, maybe there's, snow on those peaks. Kind of bring it in here like this. Clouds there. Yeah, so how does that look? I think this has some nice effects there. It's there and it's not there. That's what's kind of beautiful about this. And so if you had this on your wall, you may not really notice. You may not notice that. So you see a dove in those clouds. They're a long ways away, but yeah, a dove. I'm going to do one more layer of clouds up here, and then I'm going to build the foreground. And so we get these other layers, and it almost reminds me now that you're like, you've seen those pictures of like, you're on a space station and they're looking down at Earth and you see all those layers of clouds. Well, this is what this reminds me of here. I'm going to bring up some more white there. I've actually seen that effect too on what Star Trek movie was it in the reboot where they blew up Vulcan, and they did that. There was that space tower in it, and Captain Kirk parachuted down from the top of space tower or something like that. Doesn't that kind of remind me? That's what it reminds me of. It's like you're looking down from. Yeah, the purple is the right amount there. Yeah, it is just the right amount. But so you're looking down, and you are looking down onto I'm going to stand up and take a look, because I really kind of see that. I see that when I'm looking into the screen here, and I also see it when I'm looking down into here. Like in this area here, it looks like you're looking down at the Earth from the space station, the Universal Space Station, or the International Space Station. That's kind of what that reminds me of. You just watch Star Wars, not Star Trek? Yeah. Well, I haven't seen Star Wars for a bit. Well, I've seen it probably 5 times in the last 4 years. The whole 9 or 11 films, because I have them in my my library at Google. But anyways, I think this sky is perfect just like that. And so I'm not going to screw around with the sky any longer. And I'm not going to put a moon up there either. But because we're coming back, and so, but I might put just a little bit of white in here. I don't want to do too much because I'm gonna ruin it if I do too much. So I'm not gonna do any more than that. Maybe over here, like that. And there we go. So yeah, okay. So now we're gonna work on the foreground, and I'm gonna put in. So I'm gonna make some trees like in this one here. I'm gonna be using that oil brush or watercolor brush with the long tips on it to make some trees like this. Maybe they're about three or four trees like this. And then on this side, there's going to be going clear up to the top and coming down here. And you're not going to see the butt of it over here. You're not going to see the butt, but you're because you're walking, and at eye level, the butt of the tree is off. It's clear back here. But this is a big tree, and it's just towers into the sky. And maybe it kind of goes this way. It kind of goes a little bit this way, or it goes this way. But I think that it goes this way. And that's what we're going to build right next. And so I need to make a brown, and I'm going to block in where that is at. So I think I'm done with this brush as it stands, and we're going to, excuse me. Just going to take the color off of it a little bit, and I'm going to mix up a brown. Okay. We'll be using this blue, just a little bit of the blue. You don't need as much of the blue as you think you do. And we're going to be using this red. We need quite a bit of that because and this yellow oxide. And as you see, it's kind of right now, it's a rust color, kind of a rust color. And that's okay too. We could make it that color, and then we can bring. So you'll be listening, and so it says, yes, 350. Oh, yeah. Maybe you'll have happy cloud dreams and so forth. So I think that I want to use this color in it. I like this color. And I'm going to start with that color. And I'm going to add a little water over here. A little bit of water. Noor, hi, welcome. Welcome to Imagination Land. And I'm going to come in starting up at the top. We're just going to come bring it down. Just bring it down. Nice line here. And maybe I've been painting this tree over and over again now, where this is like an old snag. It's been an old tree, and there's a section of it that got burned out. Like right here, you can go see right through the tree. You can see the sky. And so we're going to build this tree from here. And welcome, Noor. Welcome. I'm going to build it up like this. I'm going to be careful to not rub too much, because I could end up pulling all the color right off the canvas. So you got to just be very, very gentle strokes here. And that's a nice color. I want to come up a bit, but you know, we're going to build it here. This is going to have a lot of different colors. Maybe we'll do some dabbing, and we're going to use some red and blend that in here. It's got a lot of water up there. You know what? I gotta dry that out a bit. So I'm gonna turn this hair dryer back on, and I'm gonna dry this section a bit. Airmo, welcome. Sorry about the noise, but I got to take a little bit of the water off of this canvas here and just dry it up just a little bit. Let's see if that's enough to do it. And we're going to go move to this brush over here, and it's actually scraping all the way off the canvas, so I got to be careful here. And yeah, I'm going to kind of mimic the feel of bark. And so thank you, Eremo. Thank you for popping in. Feel free to like and subscribe to the video if you so desire. This might be not the right brush for this job, but for now we're going to use this brush and try to texture this out. Just going to bring some black right onto it. You know, I really don't like this brush, and so I'm going to change gears, and we're going to retire this brush for a while, and I'm going to go back, and I'm going to use this one, which we've already used, been using already, and so I'm going to come in, and I'm just going to apply right to here just some black, and I want to just making sure that we don't scrape the paint off the canvas, because that is actually a danger here. You get things really nice, and then you rub too hard. And so we're just texturing it out. That's kind of, it's not going to have a 3D effect. I mean, not a true 3D effect, because it's kind of flat, but we want to kind of build textures into it, kind of some roughness around the edges, because you know, trees do have that of effect. And this tree here is not, it's well, it has gone through a wildfire in the past. And in that wildfire, a part of the tree burnt. But maybe it has started to regenerate itself. And it has a limb coming right out here. I'm going to put this limb in, a limb coming here, and it kind of comes out this way. Here. Was this a fir tree? Yeah, it's a fir tree, but fir trees do have limbs that go into that. They are that direction. Because if you look at fir trees, that's exactly the direction that the limbs go. They go up. They go up and up and up and up like that, and they grow up, and they grow this direction, and then they have all the little individual bits of their little needles all over it. Let's just put some red in here. I think it needs some red. I'll come back up here. Though trees in the Pacific Northwest do not have red in them, trees in Hawaii do. I think pineapple trees have red in them, and they're really pretty trees that way. So we're just going to be adding this, a little bit of this, and then doing some blending. And I think down this side, one of these sides is going to be more black. Maybe this side. No, maybe that side. Maybe that side has the more black side of it, where a lightning strike came in, and it add some gray to it, so it has a lightning strike came, and it split the tree. Some of it's still alive, and some of it's not, and it sparked a wildfire. And anyways, that's kind of what I see in my imagination. And why I always go back to wildfires is because I used to be a wildland firefighter in the 90s, just after I graduated from college. 1994. I graduated from college in 1994 with a degree in mathematics and religious studies. In January of 1995, I went with the religious studies department to Israel, and I spent a month in Israel with the college that I graduated from. But to pay for that trip, I went into the woods and wielded a shovel and fought in fires from California to from central California all the way up to the Canadian border. So in California, Oregon, and Washington State, I fought in wildfires. And so it's one of those things that I carry with me, and wishing that at the end of that summer fighting fires that I would have went to Oregon State and picked up a second degree in forestry in order to have a career as a wildland firefighter. However, I didn't think those thoughts until I was in my 40s. And I am rapidly approaching my 60s right now. So I'll be 57 on my next birthday in March. Unbelievable, but how time goes by. But that's why wildfires are always on my mind. And I remember when I was one of the nights that I worked a while, I was working on a fire, and it was in a it was in the Yakima Valley, and there were lightning strikes all around, and I was seeing lightning strikes come down and sparking new fires, and but the closest I saw a lightning strike come down was from probably like a quarter mile away. Pretty close. That's pretty darn close. Maybe it was a mile away, but in that environment where so much of the foliage had just been ripped apart by a wildfire, and just that the noise of the wildfire. The wildfire was a long ways away. We were doing back burns, and we were doing strengthening fire lines, but we were out there in the storm, and I've seen trees like this, and this is a tree that is in my imagination from that time of my life. And then there was being in the Wallowa Mountains, being on top of those mountains, and the spirituality of the mountains. The mountains have a spirituality. You know, everything is conscious in this world that we live in. All of our brothers and sisters that live, like the birds and the animals and the trees and the rocks and the clouds, it's all a manifestation of consciousness, and we are a manifestation of consciousness. And that's what I felt in those mountains in Wallowa, Oregon, which is kind of it's in north central Oregon. Wallowa is on the Oregon-Washington border. And so, and I wrote a poem years later about that experience. And that poem actually exists on my channel. I believe it might be titled Machine Language. I think that's what it's titled, Machine Language. I did that poem in the first year that I was posting content. And I don't have the very first video I did, but I do have like the second and the second one. The first one was terrible. It was probably like the worst. Well, it's not the worst video that I'd ever produced, because in my first couple channels, which still are up, but I just go sometimes look at those videos like this, from the wall of discarded art, and so yeah, those ones, when you first start doing content creation, your videos are terrible, but I think, you can leave. Yeah. Anyway, nevertheless, that's just another story. It takes time to learn how to do YouTube, and I still haven't mastered it. But I really love YouTube. I love doing these videos, and especially, I don't do the long play videos that much anymore because of the computing situation, and editing videos on a smartphone is not easy. Yeah, I don't know that I needed to say all that, but I am coming up on my 24 months of this channel on 9/9 9/9 of September 9th at 9 p.m. because the first video I posted was on 9/9/2022 at 9 p.m. Hence the 999 show. But the 999 Pro show, that number comes because I see angel numbers all the time. But where was I? I was kind of talking about consciousness and force and what those force spoke to me when I was in them, just in them, living in them as a wildland firefighter. But it was such a different, unique situation because when you go camping and you spend time in the forest, those are forests that are very much still alive, but a wildfire injures the land. It injures the consciousness of the land, and that is what I felt when I was in those mountains. Just this deep spirituality of the trees, of the rocks, and of the animals that had died. They were still there. I could still feel deer. I could still see and feel the spirits of the deer in those forests, in those places. They were still there. They were still there. Confused, running around, confused, grazing on grass that wasn't there, grazing on grass that had been burnt to ash. The deer were still there. I'm going to add a little bit more branch because, fir trees do have branches. They have branches just like deciduous trees do. But they just have different. They have different leaves. They have needles instead of leaves, and this tree is starting to regenerate. Its consciousness has not been wiped away from this earth. It is still conscious and it is still living, still alive, even though part of it has been charred to a crisp. And that is one of the beautiful things about trees, is that they have this amazing ability to regenerate. They can, so we're going to paint off the edges here, just over there. This lives over here, just down there. The regenerative abilities of these creatures, these magnificent projections of source consciousness, and how important these creatures are to the survival of every living thing here. The green stuff is the foundation of life on our planet. Beyond like the rocks and the minerals and everything else that is there. And that is why, and of course, in the translations of the Bible, Frank Thompson, welcome. No, I'm not married. Why? Why do you ask? Do I sound like I'm not married, or do I sound like a married person? Um, I almost got married, and but that was a long time ago. I didn't quite recover from that heartbreak. So it was a deep, deep heartbreak. Oh, well, I not I'm not married in this life, but I do I do caretaking. Right now, I am a full-time caretaker for my 84-year-old mother, and but yeah, a lot of this thing too, that Frank, is that there was a point in time that um in my late 20s that I was exploring becoming a monk. Yeah, it was I'm not going to say her name. It was a woman. My preferences are for females. I have never had a same sex encounter. I don't really find um, masculine men attractive at all. So, but that's that's just me, and I'm have been very much enculturated as heterosexual, but no I have no qualms about other people and what their preferences are. It's what your preferences is, what your preferences is, and that's your story, that's your journey, and that's okay. So that's where I kind of stand on that. This tree might need a little bit of green in it. Maybe we'll just use this primary green. Kind of bring it up. This is kind of bring it in here. But yeah, welcome, Frank. Yeah. And at my age, Frank, I am probably too old to think about getting married, and a lot of it, Frank, is that I am autism like neurodiversity runs in my family, and I'm not autistic, but I have a lot of characteristics that are similar to that. And so one of my cousins, and she's first cousin, she's never married. She's an artist as well, but she does clothing design, and but her older sister has married a physicist and has a couple kids, and my sister has 6 kids. She's older, and so and they don't live too far from where I live, and then there's also great grandchildren, and so I see these kids all the time. Thank you, Frank. I'm just kind of really working away at it. I'm just going slow. I'm in an hour and 29 minutes in. I am going slower with this tree because I'm actually working on a canvas, and I don't really so much want to go and gesso over the whole thing, especially when I have a skyline that looks really good. And I really, really like the background here. So I may not finish this tree tonight, but I'd like to. My lights, they have like about another 40 minutes of juice in them. I got two of them. And I'll just, one of them, they are, I'll take one of them off. So like here is, it's a little light like this. I'm not going to shine it up. It's a little LED. They're for, they're made for doing video work. And if I were to do a show that showed more of, oh, thank you for subscribing. So if I were to do a show that required using more of my face, then I need a different set of a light setup. So like just overhead lights are not the right kind of tone value that is suitable to my eye. And those LED light panels for lighting up a person, those things are they're very expensive, and they're kind of out of my price range right now. And so it depends on if I get into this art fair, big art fair, I'm going to apply for, and it costs $400. And if I can make that $400 plus a whole bunch more, then I will get some equipment so I can do more videos that might just be, doing just that, like, you know what I mean? There's stuff like that. That's the things I think about. And so I think that this tree is pretty much close to done. And so what I'm going to do is move on and do just a few other trees in the background. So I'm going to use this design here. And so like this here is this flat brush, and it is perfect for making trees. And so Eclipse, welcome, and hello, welcome to Imagination Land. And I am just some random guy that is guiding YouTube world through Imagination Land. And did I? No, I didn't. I need to wipe that off a bit. So there we go. So now we're gonna come back in, and I'm gonna make a color. And this here is oxide yellow. I'm gonna make I'll make it a little darker. So go back in here. Yes, the dragon thing. I have that. That one's almost done. I'm still working on that one. Is it the one that was like really, really multicolored? Or was it the original one? The original one. Because the other one, the original one, is this one. Is it this one or the other one? The other one is in the other room, and I'm not gonna come in and get it. I'm not gonna go get it, but yeah. So let's go add a bit more red, a little bit more of this. You're right. You know, I think about that. But so where I was going at with a little bit before that, Frank, is that when you cross over 40, it's it's really hard to make the space. If you cross over 40 and you're still single, it's really hard to make the space in your life for someone else. And that is the reality. However, in being a caretaker for my mother, it has kind of taught me that maybe I could get married, you know? Well, thank you, Eclipse, for popping in here. Yeah, so I'm gonna be on for like another 25 minutes, and then I'm gonna have to pop off because I got to get up early in the morning for church. And so my mother, her church is on Zoom. It's Lutheran church, and she can't operate the Zoom, and I need to be awake to do that. But I have to be awake anyway to go make her breakfast and so forth. I'm thinking that I'm going to add just a little bit of black to this and darken the color up just a tad bit. But yeah, I'll keep my eyes open, Frank, for maybe just that right person. Now it's like, well, you know, I think it's okay. We'll just tone it down with this yellow over here. But, you know, I live in a real rural area, and, like, for instance, with the exception of casino gambling, gas stations, chips, beer, and candy, the nearest grocery store is 25 miles away for me that sells produce that sells a produce that is within a reasonable price range. And the ocean is 25 miles away from me. There's 3, and so oftentimes I go down to no, I can't afford to. It's not in my price range, but I used to bartend in a casino. I did and I when I first started working in that casino, I did not gamble. It was until I wanted more money and I went on the floor as a cocktail waiter that I really started gambling. But I went it was more that I went as a on the graveyard shift. I was on the graveyard shift, and I just sort of kept to my schedule. And we'll put one tree here. Let's see, maybe we'll do another one over here that's shorter. I think this one is going to come down further, and it might even come all the way down. Come down here, and so it's closer. This one's further, but it's going to come down like this. No. Well, no. What I played, Frank, was I played Keno slots, and the most I ever won on any single push of the button was $800 on a Lightning Link slot machine. But you know what, Frank? When I get the hankering to go gamble, I just go watch people live stream those games that I like to play, and so the thing about it is that when you watch people live stream playing slot machines, you see exactly how unlucky those guys are. And so therefore you know that you don't need to go and play any of those machines, or you can just play them on a tablet app too, and that works just the same as going to the casino to go play. But watching people live streaming, it um it just shows you. It just shows you that it shows you, because when you watch the edited videos, they always show in all those jackpots, and those ones are really dangerous, especially if you have any weaknesses towards gambling, because that that kind of a situation can bring out a compulsiveness in your so what I'm saying is that those ones can add to the temptation to want to actually go into a casino and gamble if you just see those videos that do nothing but show, a few pushes the button and then they get a jackpot. And yeah, but if you watch the live stream ones, then you really will see, and you watch somebody burn through $1,000 in like 5 minutes, or even like $1,000 or a few $1,000s in an hour or two, and then you really just know that you don't need to do that. You don't need to go there, because they're doing it for you. They're over there, and so I'm gonna do this tree kind of like this, kind of a side to side motions, and this is going to be just the first layer here. But yeah, so like I haven't worked in a casino since 2019. Yeah, that's right. So there was only one time when I was gambling that I went into my bank account and took money out, because I would just budget. I budgeted like 600 $600 a month for gambling, just from when I started bartending, because I was making $1,000 a week as a bartender, and that was a day shift bartender too. The swing shift bartenders made even more, but they wouldn't, because I was old. I started learning bartending when I was 50 years old, and I wasn't a really fast multitasker, so they did not run me on swing shift, and they put me on mid shifts and day shifts, and that was how they ran that. And so as a day shift bartender, I mean, $1,000 a week is nothing to, but that's also including as tips and wage, and I miss that, but I don't miss working in that casino, because, well, for one, I was having migraines almost every single day for the entire time that I worked there, and I believe, I can tell you that was the hardest job I ever had to quit. It was so hard to quit that job. I had to quit that job for my health, but it was so hard to do it because of the money. And so if you are like a food and beverage worker or something like that, and you can handle certain situations, I really recommend going to casinos to work, because the benefits and those kind of things are just incredible, because you can make a lot of money, and then you can also, you have some security in your 401ks and everything else. And I still have my 401k at that casino, because you never know, I might go back. It might go back. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but I have a migraine problem, and then I ended up I'm almost diabetic, and so there's just all kinds of issues, and because eating all that bar food and all that stuff is really not that good for you. And but then my job duties changed when I did have to come and be mother's caretaker. And my father died in 2012, so it's not like you know anyways, it's just life. Life is that way. So how are these trees starting to look so far? And they're out in the background, and this is kind of like maybe it will take another one up here. It's kind of just here. It's over there in the distance, and we'll kind of stipple that one. I kind of wanted the effect of like you're on a walk here, and you are like going through this area that had a wildfire, and it's now just starting to recover. And maybe the wildfire was like 50 years ago, but it's been logged a few times or whatever. But yeah. Anyways, there's those things. But I can tell you this, in this area where I live, and I was here before that casino was in place, and there was really nothing here, because this area was very much so driven by the timber industry. But in the 80s, the timber industry disappeared in this area for the most part. There's like my father owned and operated an alder mill, which is it's alder's rated as a hardwood. And so I think that's, I want another one of these, like a little, I think I'll put another one, like a bush-like tree, just right over here. It's in the background, and it's just there. And but yeah, and so when after the 80s, and there was the loss of jobs to, because there was like the first big mill that closed up was a plywood mill. And so, like, for instance, my class going into first grade was the largest class that this area had ever seen. There was 100 students in my class. And by 1980, and I started first grade. I was born in the 60s, and and this was in the 70s, and so I started like first grade. I don't, was it like 76 or something like that? Maybe 75 that I started like first grade or something like that. And there was 100 kids in my class, and by the time 1980 rolled around, I graduated high school in 86. By the time 1980 rolled around, by the time there was like half that a number, and when I graduated from high school, there was only 35 in our class. So the timber industry was devastated in the 80s, and people just left, and it's still kind of that way. The population in this area still hasn't really recovered. It's recovered a little bit because people use the area more like a bedroom community, and they're living. I need to bring the color up a bit. Yeah. So like, the area has recovered a little bit. The casino, the tribe, and then there was in the Reagan era, they restored the tribes, and and so this tribe put in a casino, and that casino went into operation like in 96. I think that was when it opened up for business in '96, and it this is starting to get muddy. I need to change the color here. So I'm running out of some colors, and so we got to build. So you were born in 1956. So you are, and I was born in '68. So you're a bit older. But you know, I just remembered how much, you know, just the changes to when, you know, with the timber industry and how it changed the population. And now my mother grew up in this area. My dad did not, but my mother did. And her dad was a surveyor, and he worked in the woods as a surveyor, a land surveyor, and he did other kinds of logging stuff as well. And but then he got hurt or had something, and he couldn't work in the woods anymore. And then he opened up a restaurant, and the restaurant building is still here, but it's not a restaurant anymore. But you know, this area was like, you know, you're born back then, and you knew, you know, the small towns and stuff, they had things. You know, they had movie theaters. Every small town around here had a movie theater. Even the one that's just, you know, I mean, I live in between two small towns, and but there are movie theaters in these places, and not anymore. And by the time I was a child, there wasn't those small town movie theaters anymore. I mean, the closest movie theater was 25 miles away. Actually, it was a little bit. It was, yeah, that's right, 25. It was a drive-in, the kind that drive-in where they hang the speaker in the window, and I really miss those kinds of movie theaters because um, there was one in Salem that had Salem was a bit further away, but in Salem that had the kind where it was you know, you turn your FM radio on. But in always the cars that I had, that if you went to that theater, your battery would be dead by the end of the show, and then so you had to find somebody to jump your car or do something like that. And though those movie theaters were fun, those big drive-in theaters, but I tended to go to the one that was the older style with that, you know, that speaker they hang in the window. Granted, you know, it wasn't great sound, it was just a tinny speaker. And there we go, we have trees here starting. I need to bring in and make some more green, bring it up a tone. But yeah, man, I could spin all over the place in this video. It's all over the place. It's getting late. It's like no wonder we start with talking about consciousness, and of course then in talking about consciousness, that's kind of right in line with what my videos were on when I first started this channel 2 years ago. And actually, I really what I really wanted was to be like an Art Bell like show. But then it's kind of funny, I how things change, and then things changed in that first year doing this channel after I got COVID for the first time. And my mom got COVID, and she ended up in intensive care for a week. And so that kind of just changed my perspective, because after she ended up with the COVID, and that was pretty much when I I could no longer work outside of the house. And that's the point in time that I sacrificed my income in order to um, be a caretaker for mom. And I've had a zero income for 2 years. For 2 years now. A little bit over 2 years, but that's and anyways, it's kind of weird. It's kind of having a zero income is really because I'm not old enough to draw Social Security, and even if I did draw Social Security, with the amount that I paid into it, it just wouldn't work. I have that 401k, but I'm just going to leave that right where it's at. I see no reason to tap into a for that. That's still just yeah. Yeah, COVID is just nasty. Every time my mom's had COVID, she's ended up in the hospital, but it was usually like some weird complication. And, but, you know, she's not. If I were to go back to that casino, I would be back into working on swing shift. And for a while, they got rid of their smoking section, but now they brought it back. And so I don't think they would hire me back as a bartender because it's been too long since I've worked as a bartender. But they probably would hire me back doing something on the floor, maybe another cocktail server job, but whatever. I don't think that I would want to work in a straight wage job because I really like performance-based wages where like commissions and working with commissions, and I like um, tips. I like tips and commissions because you can earn more money with a performance-based wage, like tips and commissions, because you just the opportunity to just to work a little bit harder, and you can earn, yeah, that's what you can earn more money that way. And a lot of people just don't really think about that, or they think, oh, I could never do that. But people, you can put your mind to, you may never, let's say you were like me, you were neurodivergent brain with audio processing disorder or something like that, and then you did a lot of work through your life that was single tasking, like bookkeeping or data entry or things like that, which is what I did through most of my 30s and stuff like that. And then I started noticing how much servers made when I'd go into restaurants, because at that time I was living in Seattle, and I noticed how much those people made, and I thought, oh man, I'm in the wrong field because a a wait staff person that's good at that job, man, they can just make tons of money. You can just really, now, Chris, you got to pay a lot of it in taxes, but it's really a good deal. And so it's like a person can, if you put your mind to it, do that kind of work. It's not impossible. And now granted, it does help if you are easy on the eyes. Now I'm elderly, as I've said, but at that point in time, I wasn't bad looking, but being easy on the eyes does help. And most people are attractive anyway. They're attractive because just by virtue of, if you work on your inner beauty and you work on your attitudes and how your outlook, those things show up on you. They show up on your body. They show up on your inner world shows up on your outer world. and as you get older, that's really where most people's beauty comes from, is from just that. and a lot of young kids, they get trapped in the whole, they get trapped in, but it was like that when we were young, because the girls and so forth were looking at the Cosmopolitans and the 17 magazines, and they were comparing their bodies to these models and so forth, and getting, body dysmorphia, and they compare their bodies to other people's bodies and so forth, and everything, and it's just, yeah. Yeah, and so and when you're in those, in that meat grinder of your teens, and the meat grinder of your 20s, and it takes forever to develop your own inner beauty, because you have to, like, um you have to just cut through those lies, and we tell ourselves all these lies as we are, as we're growing up, and these mythologies and these stories that just aren't true. and and once you can realize that much of these stories and these mythologies and everything, they're lies, and then you can start living your life and living your own truth, and living that that like, as in Isaiah, in the prophet Isaiah, and God says that he will write the law on your hearts. That consciousness of God is written on your hearts, but unless you can, like, strip away all that stuff in your head, all that baggage, you will never be able to experience that law that was written on your hearts. And that's why, like, it's being in quiet places, being in the quiet. So, like, earlier, I was while I was waiting for some things to dry in this, I was painting this rock, and it was quiet, and I was imagining snow and a snowy scene, and you can just feel that quiet. And I'm just talking a mile a minute. I get that, and I'm not, and I'm disrupting the quiet, but it's in that quiet is when you can hear that law that was written on your hearts. But I don't really think that law is like a dogma, or any specific religious dogma. It's that law was written on the hearts of every person born in this realm, in Earth realm. And it's manifested as Hinduism, it's manifested as Judaism, as Islam, as Christianity, as you name that religion or non-religion. In your atheism, you can experience that law in your heart, and you can maintain your life as an atheist or an agnostic, or as the founding fathers of the United States were, as deists, as Unitarian Universalists. And that law is still there. That law is there, and you live your lives according to that law. But it's not really a law that can be found within any body of a church. A church body can help you to access that, but this place here, this place in imagination land, is a place that you can access that if you are quiet. If you are quiet. And so Thank you, Chad Free. I didn't mean to be preaching here. I just started preaching. And I guess I'll climb off on my soapbox now. I'm random guy soapbox on the 999 ASMR Tarot Show. But that's just my thoughts. And as I was explaining even earlier, when I was on those mountains working as a wildland firefighter in the 90s, that's where a lot of these ideas come from. But of course, I also have I had those kind of thoughts when I was earlier too, when I was younger. Maybe when I was baptized as a Lutheran. What was I, like 9 years old? And when the pastor put the holy water on my head, sprinkled on my head, and I felt this bolt of lightning go through me. When I was 3 years old, standing in the backyard, I saw that space between our world and the next world became really thin. And so for me, this has just been a lifelong thing. A lifelong thing. And I've had trouble being a Christian because of those ideas of the law being written on your heart, and that the law was written on everybody's heart, and it manifests differently for everybody. But you live according to that law. And anyway, that's my sermon. Thank you. And so, yeah, this is my imagination land scene. And so when I first opened up this video, I set the scene as you're hiking up a hill. The sun is behind you, and so you can see it here. It is reflecting off in some of these spots here. It's reflecting off in these trees here and here, and I might add a few more yellow highlights on this tree here, where you can see where the sun is at your back, and it's reflecting in here. Just a little bit here. We'll blend it in there. A little bit of sun just reflecting in here. And it doesn't have to be really realistic, because it is, it's an imagination. This is an exercise of that. And so here we are. I might put just a few more bushes in the front here before my lights burn out. And oh yeah, and if you're watching this on the replay and you haven't fallen asleep yet, maybe my ranting has I have maybe here's my sub card. I always have one of these that says like, but I don't know what happened to it. Oh, here it is. It's my like and sub cards. Like that. And I mentioned a poem called Machine Language that I wrote about an experience. I think I have that in one of my poetry books. I may have that in... Where is it at? Do I have it readily available? I don't know if I do or not. I should like to share that poem. Let me just see here. I know that poetry is like this channel killer, which is why I don't think I have it in this book, but this book is different, it has different stuff. No, I don't think this one has machine language in it. Would it be in alphabetical order? No. No, this one doesn't. I might have it in print someplace, but I don't have it memorized. Anyways, I'm going to get back to Imagination Land, and I might put a few bushes in here up front. A few bushes to... But sometimes I worry about doing that, and it might end up destroying what I'm doing, and so we need a different brush for that. And we'll use this one. Walker H, welcome, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to add just some bushes and some grasses, and so this is my own a mutilation, mutilated a fan brush. Thank you. And so we're just going to use that to stipple in here in the foreground to make some bushes, what maybe might look like grass. Use some different colors. Over there, over here. Maybe some blue colors, like there might be some blue flowers in here too. Some white. I'm not adding snow into this, but maybe there is snow. Maybe there is snow here. Maybe we want to go, oh, that's hard. That's dried up hard now. So we'll just go get some red. We'll add a little blue to it. Makes it more like of a purple color. Put that over here. Just a little bit here and there. Over there. Just the finishing touches. Just the foliage just back in here. It's over there. I probably should have put it in there first before I started putting in those trees. Red, more red. Maybe mix it in with some of this yellow. Orangey color. There, it's kind of, there it is. Maybe a little bit softer over here. Softer. I don't want to ruin it. That's the danger of the last finishing touches, is that you can end up ruining what you're doing here. And when you get a real good thing going on, it really sucks that you ruined your painting because you added too much of stuff just like this. And so I'm not going to do any much more here. I think that it is just a little bit over here like this white. I think that's about it. And maybe some right in front of this. But what might be good in this is we're going to go back into my long brush. I'm going to take this and add some grass. put some water on that brush a little bit more, and we're going to try and make a nice some nice grasses here. So maybe we can see maybe it's grown up around that trunk a bit. I'm going to do just a little bit more right in front there. Let's bring up the shade a bit to just some yellow like that. You know, we got like all kinds of things going on here, and maybe it's gone to seed. Let's go add some titanium white to that, and just to tone this down a bit. And it's gone to seed. The grass has gone to seed. It's got some seed on it. Here we go. Goes up that way. It's got a bit of textures that way. Be a nice place to have a picnic, you know. You know what? I think I'm gonna make this grassy seed maybe a little red. A little bit of red. You know, that is also a color that is often seen in, it's not necessarily in grass. There are plants that where red comes into it. And now this is pretty much done. I might, do I want to add some bird? Do you want some birds in the sky? I think it needs some birds flying around too, just to know that this, that one thing. And so we got just a few more minutes, and then my lights are going to burn out. And so I've gone on really long here, but you can see the whole process. If you go back into the beginning and watch this on the playback, you can feel free to turn the speed up to like 1.5. 1.5 is, and then you can, if you really want a more relaxing pace, and you can turn the volume down, and this can make a nice relaxation video. You know, in the beginning, I was just more going through the process, and I was less preachy, and all right. Well, that one has too much water in it. Let's put a little bit of that blue in there. Get kind of a bird look. I may want some more, yeah, more flappy wings. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Tricko. Yeah, Bob Ross is one of my heroes, my painting heroes. I think that he was such an interesting guy. I mean, being, you know, it's too bad that his life was cut so short. So that we have like 4 birds, but you know, you only see even number of birds when you're dealing with geese, because geese mate for life. Well, we got those happy trees right in here, and now we have these little happy birds flying around in the sky. The little birds. Maybe we'll put another one, happy bird, right over here on the edge. Maybe I'll make it a red bird. You know, see red birds, but anyway, it's fine. It's in imagination land, and we can have red birds in the sky if we want. I've never seen one before, but I've seen birds with red heads. They're called vultures. And there's like 7 of them that live in the valley here. There's also a hawk or two. Thank you, Chad Free. Thank you. The final touches. Maybe you want to have a one. Let's clear out over here in front of this cloud here. It's in the distance, in the way distance. It's flying in. 2 of them, 3 of them. They're definitely not geese because geese, robins, Doctor. Yeah, thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 birds, and that one on the edge, 8. So they could be geese. They could be geese but geese migrate. Geese make around here. The geese start making their migration in late July, early August, and they've already made and they've made their migrations already. I'm gonna I need to sign this. I think we'll do that down here on this edge. Well, I don't know. I'm really worried because it would be like someone were to buy this. I'm gonna put it on the edge. Actually, I think I'm not gonna paint it on there. I'm gonna go in and do a Sharpie pen. And oftentimes I will use a Sharpie to make those birds. My initials are Gregor. Well, I would, except that I would need to practice that image, and I think Gregory, I will consider that. And so I'm going to be doing art on this show most likely for the next year. That's what my content is going to be for my so 9/9/2024 marks the 2 years of doing content, and so right around this time is when I start thinking about what my content is going to be for the next year. And so I'm going to be doing for the next year, I'm going to do art. I'm going to do this. I might do some more mask making probably for the next few months. And I'm going to start creating a tarot. I'm going to start doing doing my own tarot deck, but I'm going to do the tarot card art because I do have I am a tarot channel, but I'm not going to be doing any readings. I'm not going to be doing any live readings for anybody or like that, but I will be doing tarot art. And so this is the Page of Pentacles, and doing with collage art and stuff like that. I don't know, but I'm going to be doing at least one of those type of videos a week. And right now, and so yeah, right, I will consider that, Gregory, and make a note of that and start practicing what that would look like in a painting, and then maybe in a couple months I will have that design down and I will incorporate that into a painting. And so at this time I'm gonna just draw one of these little tiny tarot cards just for what the energy of this day was, and see if there's any good insights here. And it's not a bad card. The 4, this is about celebration, about stability, and this whole day has been like that. I'm going to have 3 new tarot decks coming next week. They're new to me. They're not new to anyone else. And I will be doing those videos, flip throughs on those. And so forth. And so this is about jubilation, it's about celebration, and it's about stability and having stability in your life. And so, anyways, I think this is a perfect tarot energy for what this day was, what this session was today. And so I'm going to put that over there. So that's as close to a tarot reading as I'm going to do on this channel for the near future, and that's probably in next, maybe someday I'll do live readings. But there's a lot of things I'm just, as a tarot practitioner, that I'm just not comfortable doing, and there's just a lot of things, and because I really feel like tarot is more about the right here and right now versus tomorrow, and the trying to foretell what the future is, because you really can't tell what the future is, because I don't really believe you, because I don't believe that information is really present for us in this realm. I think maybe for our decisions today, yes, that information is here. But I don't believe that we should know that information. That's my whoops, I hitting the camera again. I'm going on my soapbox again and soapboxing it here, and that's my belief. But I think it's kind of about like opening up a journal and asking it, what do I feel? And you start writing, and next thing you know, and you look at that down at the page, and you think, I didn't know that I felt that way. And that's kind of how I approach as a Christian, as a non-Orthodox Christian. That is how I approach the tarot. Anyways, that's enough of my soapboxing. Enough of that. And it is 2.5 hours, and I need to cut this off because I got to go pee. And I need to go to sleep. And I don't know what time it is. And so, anyways, thank you, everybody, for coming into the stream and commenting and liking the video. And thank you, Gregory, for the suggestion, and I will take that to heart because that's a great idea. Thank you, Dr. Trichrome. Thank you, Chad Free. Thank you, Walker H. Thank you, Frank, for the lovely conversation on the side. Thank you. Thank you, Eclipse. Thank you, AR Mo. Thank you, Nor. Thank you, Care Bear Bard of the Cards. Thank you, Maximilian77. And was there anyone else that I missed here? Let me go back. Thank you, Travel Siblings. Thank you, everybody just lurking in, that have lurked in on this stream as we entered into imagination land, and all the thoughts that came out. Thank you. And Blessings of the universe be upon you today, tomorrow, and the next day, and forevermore. And good night. And thank you for supporting this channel. Bye-bye.